What do we have on the bench here today? Well, tools, that's just a Mac pack. It's just a good old-fashioned number 4 Mac pack that seems to have a transparent top. Well, it is basically a number 4 Mac pack, but this one is specifically designed to hold batteries. I'm going to have to lift the camera up here because this one is designed to hold, as you can see, 12 batteries. There is currently 12 4 amp hour batteries in this carry case. Carry case seems like a lot of effort just for a carry case for batteries, and why are they sticking out the top? Why aren't they down here if this is just carrying batteries? I kind of don't know why I'm going through with this charade, because presumably I've already put pictures of this on the thumbnail and you know by the title what this already is, so let's cut the crap. Let's spin this thing around. She's pretty heavy with all these batteries in it. And take a wee look-see. Before I do that though, this lid is going to get in the way for my filming. So how about we take it off? I'll just show you how it latches first. So that's how you do it up. But you can remove it with these here. Now you can't just slide them across at the moment when the lid's down, presumably for security reasons. You can't get it fully out. It'll move a little bit, but you can't get it out properly. It's not until you get to about here somewhere that you can, well, there it is. There's a certain spot where you can just slide them out. When you go to put them back in, for instance, you'll see, you slide that in. See that? So you know that when that is there-ish, they should come out. So take those out. Lid off. Now going to make this video much easier for me. Now why on earth would you take that off? Well, if for instance you had this on a shelf at home or on a shelf in your work van or something, you don't want that lid in the way. Like this, you could just access everything easily. No having to open a lid. Of course by now you will know, like I say by the thumbnail, that this thing charges batteries. This is a 12 bank battery charger, all self-contained within a Mac Pack 4. Has easy carry handles on the side, both sides fold out. It will clip on top of your standard Mac Packs, all of them, so top, bottom, whatever, she'll be right. When this was first announced, I noticed that a certain tool website erroneously said this was a rapid charger. It is of course not a rapid charger. It is basically 3 banks of chargers, but they don't all work at once. So basically it's one bank and then another bank and then another bank. So these 4 will charge at once, and then once they're done, these 4 will charge, and then once they're done, these 4 will charge. This is not something that is going to quickly charge your batteries on site. This is the sort of thing that you use all your batteries during the day. At the end of the day, you chuck them all in this, carry them inside, plug it in, go to bed, get up in the morning, unplug it, chuck it back in your van. Or, what I would like to do, if I still have my work van, I would mount this basically in the vehicle, screw it into your van, and then at the end of the day, you've got all your batteries chucked in there, just run a lead out, plug in the van, unplug it in the morning, go to work. Because this is going to take a while to charge, okay? Each one of these banks of 4 is going to take 2 hours and 25 minutes if these are all flat to fully charge them. So 2 hours 25 plus 2 hours 25 plus 2 hours 25 is what? Over 7 hours. So it's not quick. But like I say, for overnight, end of the day, you've got all your batteries scattered everywhere, chuck them in there, charge them all. Don't have to worry about going along and changing 1 out or 2 out every time like you would have to do with a dual charger or a single charger. So it's sort of set and forget. So we have a bunch of batteries here, and we've got 1 flat on the top, 1 flat in the middle. So what is it going to do? I don't really need to charge all of these, and I'm not going to flatten I'm not going to flatten 12 batteries just for a video and then time it when it's going to take 7 odd hours. So I'm just going to see here whether this one, once it's charged, seeing as these are all charged, it'll jump straight down into this one after hopefully not 2 hours and 25 minutes. Or will it still take 2 hours and 25 minutes? Because this is simultaneously charging 4 at once, in theory, it's going to take 2 hours and 25 minutes to do 1, or 2, or 3, or 4, right? Well, let's plug it in and see what it looks like. So the charging pack looks like this, pretty similar to the backpack batteries, and it clips on the back with this. On, off, nice and easy. I'm going to plug this into this EcoFlow power station. Now that might seem a bit weird, charging a bunch of batteries with another big battery, but it's because I want you to look at this area here. Okay, just here you will see how much power is going into this thing to charge the batteries. I'm going to do that to show you how it compares to a standard rapid charger and a dual rapid charger. I haven't got any single slow chargers here because I never use slow chargers. Because this is basically a slow charger, there are a few differences to the rapid chargers some of you may be used to. So there won't be any little songs when the batteries are charged. There will also be no fan running in this thing. You might hear a fan on the external charging box over there, but there's no fans built into this thing. And so that also means that the batteries, if they are too hot when you put them in the charger, they won't get cooled with the fan before they start charging like they do in the rapid charge. So with all that being said, let's turn it on. Also, it should flash blue when they're charging, like most of the 40 volt chargers. So you'll get a slow flash blue on each light when they are charging. When they are charged, you'll get a solid green. And if there's something wrong with the cells in the battery, or the battery is broken in any way, you'll get a quick flashing red light. Hopefully, we don't get any of those. Okay, it is turned on. And away we go. So you've seen a whole lot of lights light up there. For some reason the last 3 at the bottom haven't lit up. Charged, charged. We've got fans going, but they're not in this thing. One of the fans you can hear is this, and the other one is this. Pretty certain this is doing nothing. So while it may sound like there is a fan in this thing, there isn't. It's just the things around it. As you can see, we do have charging taking place on more than just one row, so that's cool. I did wonder, I don't know why this one's saying it's charging and this one has no light, and why these two have no lights and that one has a light. I don't know if it's the amount of power getting to it. Anyway, as we can see over here, 267 watts going into this thing at the moment. What happens if we change a couple of batteries out? Will we get different lights lighting up in different places? Hasn't added any more to the bottom. That hasn't changed anything here because those 3 were already charged. Now, these ones are pretty close to being charged. What happens if we pull out that one? Right, now the next one down here is kicked in. So that's interesting. I don't know why we've got no light on this one though. Should have a green light there. And we should also have a blue one there, but for some reason it seems to be the other way around. What happens if we take that out? Nothing? Is this battery hooked in properly? Doesn't seem to like that battery. Anyway, so now we've got one charging here, one charging here, one charging here, and one charging here. A couple of these batteries are not showing anything up on the lights, which is interesting. And none of those might be shown because we already have 4 batteries charging here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we now take out one of these that are charging, maybe these lights will come on. Yep, there we go. So flicks between 4 charging at once. They don't all have to be in the same line. So that is interesting. That's not what I thought it was going to do. It's not what all the literature says about these things. So basically it'll charge any 4. So that's good. You don't have to worry about sticking 4 in a row here that are all dead and leaving the good ones at the bottom. You can just chuck them in any order and it will find the ones that need charging. So that's pretty cool. So there we go. 4 batteries charging. And if we take all of them out. Okay, and we're just going to go one by one here. Right, now you can hear no fan. Because it's not drawing enough at the moment to bother kicking in the fan in either this or the other one. Now it's kicked in. Just that one over there that's kicked in at the moment, I think. Yep. So 66 watts to charge one battery. it up the right way, Tools. Still saying 66 and doesn't want to charge that battery. Right, so that battery is definitely charging on that second layer because it's now doubled. We're up to around the 120. Let's find another flat one and stick it down the bottom. Should now get up to 180, 190, somewhere like that. There we go. Up to 180 now. Now that's pretty much like how when you put on a rapid charger, it takes a moment. The charger communicates with the battery, works out what's going on, sees if everything's all good, and it can start charging and then kicks in. So 3 of them there going at 180. What happens if I just randomly chuck in another one that says it's charged? Will it bother kicking in? Nah, says that one's charged. Okay, let's fill it all back up again. Half the lights aren't coming on. Seems a little bit odd. Okay, we've got what? 5 going on the right hand side and only 2 going on the left hand side. What happens if I pull out all the ones on the right? Still only got 2 going on the left. And I don't know why it's not charging that one. That one's charging, that one should be charging. So according to that, it's only charging 2, and according to this, it's only charging 2. So for whatever reason, it doesn't like this battery, which it's kind of not surprising. It's had a bit of a tough life, this one, but it does charge normally on my other rapid chargers. I'm just going to take everything out and put that one battery back in. Okay, now it's going to charge. It's going to take a while to cycle through all these things. Obviously the lights come and go depending on how many batteries are in there and what charge state they're at, and you know, whether they're charging at the time. A little bit strange, but it is good that it does charge multiple batteries on multiple levels rather than them all having to be in one row. So if you wanted to charge one battery, you can, in theory, just take it and shove it anywhere inside here and it should kick in like that. So that's cool. Now this particular one this fan's going to kick in a second, isn't it? Yeah, so let's take that out so it's not annoying on the video. So this particular box, as you can see, takes 12 4-amp-hour batteries, no problem. That's 48 amp hours, or what's that, 1728 watt hours. So that's not as much as the other one. What other one? Oh, I'll finish talking about this one first, and then we'll put the other one on the bench. Yeah, that's right, there's another one. This is the BCC02. And as you can see, it holds 12 4-amp-hour batteries, but nothing bigger. So if we try and stick a 5 in there, there's no room. Can't even stick it in sideways. So no 5s, no 8s, but of course it'll take 2s and 2.5s. Just to show you, it'll put the same current in. There's only one of them charging at the moment, and then the second one's kicked in. Running a couple of watts lower, a couple of watts different to doing the 4-amp-hour batteries. Oh no, there we go. It's the same. So you can do any combination of 2 amp hour, 2.5 amp hour, and 4 amp hours in this. But what if you want to charge a bunch of 8s? Or what if you want to do a couple of 8s and a couple of, let's say, 5 amp hour 18 volt batteries? Well, you can't charge 18 volt batteries in this thing, and you can't fit these batteries in this thing. So if you want to do that, then maybe this next one is a better option for you. This is the BCC01. Now, it is only an 8-bay charger, but even though you lose out on 4 charging ports, you get a few more options with this. The most obvious being you can fit 8 amp hour batteries in it, but not only that, with the aid of the good old adapter that was released right when 40 volt first came out, you can charge 18 volt batteries in this thing too. So as you can see, the layout is a little bit different. It's too many batteries on this bench here. So we've got 4 on the bottom, 4 on the top, or 4 either side, depending on which way around you've got this container. And as well as having it this way, you can have it vertically if you decide, you know, you want it up like that. You can keep it like that on a shelf or something. Or of course you can have it with the lid and move it around and stuff. But we're going to do it like this for the purposes of this video. Right. Okay, so let's load this thing up with 8 amp hour batteries. I had to borrow a few for this because I didn't have 8 of these, but I wanted a shot with 8 of them in it. So let's give it a go. Oh, no, hang on. Let's try the 18 volt first, shall we? Not only that, it says 14.4 volt on this adapter. So can we put a 14.4 volt battery on here and charge it? Well, I'm not sure if this battery is charged or not. I think it is charged, unfortunately. But let's give that a crack. This is not too common these days, and a lot of people may not have seen them. 14.4 volt battery, 1.5 amp hour, this particular one. Tiny little, nice little battery, nice and light to use on tools. All right, we've got the charging light on. It is working. What have we got here? Come on, kick in, kick in. There's the fan. There we go. Oh, very short-lived because, like I said, already charged. Let's see if I've got a flat one somewhere. Let's try this battery. This one will hopefully give us some charging. Now a 5 amp hour battery will take 135 minutes in this. A 5 amp hour, where are we? We've got one here. 5 amp hour 18 volt, which many of you use for everything. They will take 135 minutes. That's what? 2 hours and 15 minutes to charge. So a lot slower than a rapid charger, but of course it will do 4 of those in that length of time. It'll do 1, 2, 3 or 4 in that same period of time. Now we've got this charging 40 watts going into this little 1.5 amp hour 14.4 volts, sorry. And if we put on a, let's see, is this dead? Yep. So one dead 5 amp hour here, and we'll see how many watts goes into that. Now I tried this adapter in the other one and it doesn't fit, okay? So just a little bit over the 40, coming in around 42, 43, jumping around a little bit. So yeah, like I say, I'm going to take that out because of that fan. Once again, this doesn't have a fan in this. It's just all coming from that adapter. So, speaking of adapters, this is an adapter, as you've just seen, for the 14 and 18 volt. I tried fitting it into the other one, the BCC02. It fits, but you can't physically put any battery on top of it, not even one that small. So, you can only use it in here. So in theory, if you used both 18 volt and 40 volt, you could stick one of these on each of these ports on one side, have one side for 18, one side for 40, or if you just use 18 every now and again, you can just have one, of course. And if you need to charge more 40 volt batteries, you can just whip that off and chuck the 40s in there. So, speaking of 40s, what does it look like with 8 amp hour batteries? 64 amp hours of batteries. I'm going to have to go and borrow some batteries because I don't have 8 of these, because that's a lot of money on batteries and I just don't do that much stuff with the large batteries. But let's just imagine I have run out and grabbed some more, and I will now fill it up. And while I do so, I will tell you a few things. So the 8 amp hour batteries take a lot longer, of course, to charge than the flat, than the 4 amp hours that we used in the last one. Now this one hasn't turned on. Not charging, no light showing. We're only showing 100 watts so far over on the EcoFlow. So the top 2 batteries have kicked in, that bottom one has not. Not only that, running a little bit less than the other charger, which would have been running at 120 for 2 4 amp hour batteries. It's interesting. Now, more 8s. Let's put another flat one in over here. Okay, so that's charging. Let's now take out a couple of these and see if that bottom one's going to kick in. Okay, the bottom one's kicked in now. So this one will charge multiple layers as well. So obviously some weird combinations going on here. Maybe there's some vertical combinations that Makita haven't stipulated. Because in all the literature and all the images, it sort of goes 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, depending on which one we are looking at. Okay, that one has turned on. Let's put one right back to the beginning. In theory, it should charge 4 at once, so this should kick in. But it's not. It's only doing 3 at once. Is that some sort of limitation from this? Shouldn't be, because wattage-wise, not a problem at all. This thing can put out a lot more than 160 watts. This thing should now be running over 200 if it's got 4 batteries, but that one not charging. Still not kicking in. Still not kicking in. I wonder if it, like, once it starts the second layer, it doesn't want to go back to the first one. No, is that theory blown? This is slightly confusing. Anybody knows why it's behaving like this? Both of them have done the same sort of thing. So we've got 3 going, 4 going, okay? 1 in each bank of 2, and we've got 4 going. But we are still 4 batteries short. One short, except I'm not actually. I do have an 8th one here, but unfortunately it is currently powering the camera that I'm recording this on. This is the first time I've ever tried this, but I'm running this 8 amp hour battery on this lantern. It's plugged into this camera. Trying to work out ways to get longer run time off my batteries when I'm not filming near power and stuff. So pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked with this, but it does mean I'm going to have to turn this off and change the battery out. So see you in a second. So 4 batteries charging in there at the moment, a little bit lower than the other one. So we're only running at 220 to 225 watts. 8 batteries stacked in there, 4 of them charging at once. So by that, you can plug a lot of these in. You're not going to have to worry about blowing any power. In this country, I could plug in what? 8, 9, 10 would be pushing it, but you could possibly get away with 10 of them running at that amount of wattage going in. So that's pretty cool. Although you would have to take out a mortgage on your house if you wanted to buy 10 of these. Now at the time of filming, these aren't available yet, so I can't give you a price or anything, but you know, it's going to be a pricey charger. But doesn't it look cool with 8 batteries in there? 8 amp hour batteries. It's pretty impressive. I think we need to do a another shot here. 8 on the bottom and 12 on the top. Shall we do that? Okay, watch what happens with these lights when I plug this in. Hopefully you're going to be able to see them. Let me just turn this light off. All green lights come on. Now watch what happens to them. From bottom right, oh no, left, oh. See, they went off in banks of 3 that way, you know. Doof, 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 doof. Not doof, doof, doof. Anyway, let's load her up. Right, we've got all 4 charging on the top row now, on the top one, and 1 in each section on the bottom. I don't know about you, but I think that looks pretty cool. I'm going to have to take the camera back a little bit here so we can see all of this. Knock my battery out that I've just clipped into this thing. Look at that. I think that's pretty impressive. 20 40-volt batteries charging at once, almost. 8 charging at once, and then another 12 waiting for their turn. If you thought this took a long time with 145 minutes, 2 hours and 25 minutes for a set of 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, like I said before, to charge, 2 hours and 25 minutes. For these, 1 or 4 will charge in 4 hours and 40 minutes. So like I say, it's not a rapid charger, something you want to leave overnight, because if you got this whole thing full of completely flat 8 amp hour batteries, granted there's not going to be that many people that actually need one of these to charge 8 completely dead 8 amp hour batteries, but of course there are some guys, and there'll be some, you know, construction firms and what have you, where these will be awesome. But anyway, like I say, to charge 8 of them is going to take you 9 hours and 20 minutes if they're completely flat, which is a long time. You're going to have to quickly rush home, chuck this on the charger so that they're all ready by the next morning. If you forget about it, you're going to be in trouble. I'm now trying to work out where I can put one of these, because I now have a cabinet exclusively for charging batteries. I store all my batteries in there and my chargers. This would be cool because it kind of like 2 birds, 1 stone, just leave the batteries stored in it. I could leave this like this, because this is currently how many Makita 40 volt batteries I have, except you know, you took those out and replaced them with some 2s and 5s and stuff, then that would basically be all my batteries, and I wouldn't have to have shelves as such, because they're like shelves, chargers, all in one. Pretty cool. Right, I just unplugged the units and plugged them back in again to see what would happen, and now we've got all 4 charging on the top row here. We've got them on the bottom here because this is row 1. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then these ones have no lights. So the ones that have no lights are waiting to be charged. That's what I've worked out. So these 4 shouldn't have any, and they don't. So once these are charged, you know, you start dropping onto the other ones. So it goes through, it's worked out these ones are charged, and these ones are still yet to have a bit of a top up. So that's why sometimes there's no lights on them. If there's already 4 charging, then it won't light up. And there's only 3 charging on there, but hey. Presumably one of these other ones will kick in shortly. Now what else do you need to know? If you've got the lid on it, there is a lock. There's like a hole somewhere on said lid. There it is there. It's not going to do a lot, of course, so you can, there's a hole in that and a hole on the unit so that you can put a padlock through. Not that that's going to be a lot of help probably, because somebody will probably just walk off with the whole thing. Although, full of batteries, these things are pretty heavy, because that's like 12 kgs worth of batteries. The unit's about 5 kgs, so you're looking at about 17 kgs. And this, wow, hey, what's that? You're probably looking at about 20 kgs for this one. So they're pretty hefty units when they are full of batteries. Right, let's see how heavy this thing is. Fully loaded. Scales are now on. My first time lifting both of them together. Got to be... Ooh, that might be heavier than what I thought. I reckon that's got to be like... It's got to be pretty much 40 kgs, I reckon. It's got to be, I'm going to say, between 39 and 41. It's turned off again. Let's go. Yeah, she's pretty hefty. You don't want to lug that around all day. I'll tell you what. 40.2. Whew. That's pretty heavy. That is 20 batteries. Ooh. Yeah. Not the easiest thing to lug around like that. You really need the MacPack trolley. Anything else? Oh yeah, when the lid is on, there's a seal in here. So once that is on, and you can leave it on while you're charging, you don't have to take it off. I of course have just taken them off to make it easier for this bench test, but you can charge it with the lid on. Hopefully too much heat won't build up in there. If you're in the middle of summer in Australia or something, I think it might pay to sort of leave the lid open while you're charging. But if you're in a cold, wet environment, then I would leave the lid closed for sure. And speaking of wet environments, that seal, like I just said, IPX4 rated, both of these units. So they should be all good with a little bit of rain. Of course, that's the unit, not so much probably the charger. If you want to know what the charger is, the model number is, I've forgotten what it is, that's a DC4002. So they're both the same. It's got a light on the charger as well. Doesn't flash unless there's a problem, basically, if it's overheating, or so if that starts flashing red, you've got an issue. You may need to unplug it because you've got it sitting in the sun or something, or there's something potentially wrong with it and you need to take it back in for servicing. Make sure you keep the vents on this thing clear as well. There's not a lot of vents on it, but as you can hear, there is a fan running in it. No fan in that. Because the lid is transparent, you can of course see through it, so you can see how the batteries are charging. If you see a whole lot of blue lights, leave it. If you see a whole lot of green ones, well, you know everything's all done, ready to go. As well as this being MacTrack, oh, slip of the tongue, as well as this being MacPack, does it fit on the MacTrack? Well, let's have a quick look. So width-wise, you can see it's pretty darn close. You know, it's pretty similar. You could almost get away with that there, I reckon, but there is no way for it to latch on. The latches don't, you know, they're not compatible like they are. You can't clip MacPack onto MacTrack, okay? Not going to work. But it wouldn't be too hard for Makita to make a system. All they need to do, make this bit, and then have that attached to a couple of MacPack clips so that you can just put it there, flick up a couple of little plastic clips, and away you go. So it doesn't fit on the MacTracks, but in the future, who knows, maybe they'll make one that will fit on there. once MacTrack's been around for a bit and they get a sense of how it's tracking and what people want. Wouldn't be that difficult probably to make one with the right attachments on the bottom so it slots onto the MacTrack, or you could maybe even modify one of these current boxes and just screw something to the bottom so it's slid on. Time will tell. MacTrack is very new and I'm sure there's going to be lots of extra things to go with it, and the full review of that of course will be coming up soon right here on Tools and Stuff. If you want to know how many amps coming into these things, 6.8 and 6.8 both of them. When it's charging the 40 volt batteries, looking at 1.6 amps output. The 18s can do 2.1 amps output on this one. How that compares to a standard charger, a standard 40 volt rapid charger, this is 6 amps, so that's 6 amp output, so this is only 1.6. That's why this is significantly faster than this. It's pumping a lot more current, more than 3 times the amount into the batteries, and this will do an 18 volt at 12 amps. So we've got the adapter on there and everything. You can charge 18 volt batteries on this faster than you can charge it on an 18 volt charger. And a dual rapid charger is essentially 2 of the single chargers stuck together. That's why these things are so big and so heavy and so much better than chargers from other companies, because it's actually 2 entire chargers in there. So that's giving you 6 amp and 6 amp. So that's, you're not losing anything by putting 2 batteries on. Like with the Milwaukee supercharger, it can only charge one at full whack and the other one's reduced until that one's charged, then it kicks in and puts more whack into the other one. Whereas this is full whack all the damn time, 6 on each side or 12 on each side for LXT batteries. And with battery chargers, I would normally do a sort of runtime test to see how long it takes to charge. But you know what, for a change, I'm not going to do that because, like I say, this is a long time. All of these batteries are, oh, that one's almost charged. So basically got 4 that need to be charged on there, and that's going to take, you know, well, with the other little bits that'll go into every one, we're looking at sort of 5 hours. And I'm not setting up a timer and watching this thing for 5 hours. So we'll just have to trust Makita's numbers, I think, on this one. So let me know if you would buy one of these things, or whether you'd like to see an LXT one. What about an LXT one? Because you can have an LXT one like this size. Wouldn't be too hard for these to be LXT ports instead of XGT ones, and you could do 12 of these in one go, which would be pretty cool. I imagine after the feedback comes in from these, Makita will look at whether it's viable or worth it to make an LXT one. I mean, it wouldn't be that difficult to do, of course, so maybe they will, but don't go saying I said that they will, because hey, they might not. Anyway, I think that's about it. I think we are done for this one. Boom, pulled that out. This one's now kicked in. If I pull that one out, I'm guessing... See, the banks are actually going this way, not this way, like Makita say. It does also say in the manual, I found this line which says, if insert the battery cartridges, good English, if insert the battery cartridges in the same row, the battery cartridges are charged in the order in which they are inserted, regardless of their position. So anyway, what do you think will happen when I pull this one out? This one? Or this one? See, I mean, it's meant to go in the rows. According to all the diagrams, it goes like this. 1 row, 2 row, 3 rows, but it looks more like it goes like this to me. So I'm going to take this out, that's going to jump over there. But if this was row 3, it should go along there. And seeing as it goes 1 and then 2, this should have, if I took that one out, that one should have kicked in. Anyway, let's see what happens. Nothing kicks in. Okay. What about if I pull out another one of these? There we go. Now that one's kicked in. Interesting. And not this one. Let's see if one will kick in up here. And it does. Somewhat confusing. Let me know what you think of that down below. Now with the adapter, if I put that in there, are the new 9 and 12 amp hour Makita batteries going to fit, the LXT ones? What? New LXT 18 volt 12 amp hour and 9 amp hour batteries? Yeah, check out that video up there and down there if you haven't already heard. They're not out yet, but they're on their way. Okay, cheers for watching. See you. Sound of these fans and this charger is damn annoying when you're making a YouTube video. 465 with 4 batteries charging on each one. Oh, there's only 3 charging on that one, isn't there? So we plug another one in there, what happens? No. Does them in the order they're inserted, not the order of the actual charger. Interesting. It's not even going to kick into that one. You would think it would now start charging this one, but it ain't gonna. It's like it's gone, I'm done past those, now I'm on 2s. So if I put one up there, it'll probably charge. If I can find a flat one. Which one of these was flat? There we go. You'll notice I've got it up the other way to how I had it in the first shot. So now that one's kicked in, but if I take it off and put it down here, what will happen? Kicks in. But if I put it on this side, even though this is in row number 1 supposedly, nothing. But if I take out both of these, 2 that are charging here, we've now jumped up to this top one up here. Take that one out, nothing wants to charge. Take that one out. That one's now kicked in. Take that one out. And now finally this one's kicked in again. So we've gone through the 3 there and then back down to 1. It's a little bit odd. Little bit odd. I'm sure somebody will have an explanation for that down there. See ya, I've got to go. Because I've got other things to do.